I've been very much looking forward to seeing F1 the movie for a while now, and I was a big fan of F1 as a kid, and I think we've been overdue for an F1 movie that's focused on the modern era, a film that would be faithful to the world of Formula One, including all of the off-track action, the politics and personal rivalries and so forth. This film was directed by Top Gun Maverick's Joseph Kosinski and written by Erin Kruger. It was really designed to be the Top Gun Maverick of motorsports movies. The filmmakers got unprecedented access to the F1 paddock. The fictional Apex GP F1 team effectively were a part of the entire 2023 season. The actors and crew interacted on a regular basis on the grid and around the pit and paddock areas. The actors stood in with the drivers for the national anthems and even took part in the formation laps of some of the races. Brad Pitt, who plays main character Sonny Hayes, and co-star Damson Idris, who plays Joshua Pierce, both drove Formula 2 cars with modified F1 body kits. Specific scenes for the film's races were shot with professional drivers, of course. The onboard camera shots give incredible driver perspectives, really showcasing the speed, excitement, and, of course, the danger. First up, I'll say this. Do I think this is a great movie? No. It is not a great movie, but by and large, I enjoyed it well enough. It's a good time. In fact, it's pretty much exactly what I was expecting. Nothing more, but nothing less. It is predictable, like many sports movies. You might remember the movie Tin Cup with Kevin Costner. It was a golf movie from 1996. Yeah, it's a lot like that in many ways. A has-been former professional sports person who missed his shot only to be given one last miracle opportunity to prove himself years later. Also, comparing it to other recent motorsports movies, I'm thinking of the likes of Ford v Ferrari or Rush, and I don't think F1 is anywhere near those movies. In fact, I think they're much superior films, and it also helps that Rush and Ford v Ferrari are based on true stories, which makes them more engaging than this. F1 is quite formulaic, no pun intended. The washed-up older guy who comes out of retirement, he's a maverick, he plays by his own rules, he's tortured by his past, in this case a fateful crash that ended his career. He's now competing against a young, rookie, hot-shoe teammate who feels threatened by him and is eager to make his mark. There's the predictable twists along the way where the team is losing for a while, it's all a disaster, but gradually they start to turn it around. It's a feel-good story in that respect. And they become the plucky underdog. You know, the usual. But though it may be cliched and trope heavy, that doesn't mean it's a bad movie. It's all ultimately down to how well the film is executed. And I think for the most part, it's executed very well. But you won't be spending much time thinking about this movie after you've watched it. This is popcorn, pure and simple escapism. But what makes the film is its cast. Brad Pitt does what he always does best. He's cool, laid back, he's a solid leading man with bags of charm and charisma. He's ideally cast for the character of Sonny Hayes. Damson Idris plays Pierce with youthful energy, cockiness and bravado, and yet he's still vulnerable and likeable at the same time. He's got a lot to learn and lacks the wisdom of Hayes. Javier Bardem brilliantly plays Ruben Carventas, Sonny's former teammate, and he's the quintessential larger-than-life F1 team owner. And he reminds me a lot of the likes of Flavio Briatore, actually. I think Kerry Condon steals the show. She's the emotional heart and soul of the film, the team's technical director, Kate McKenna, and a love interest for Sonny. The racing feels authentic, though obviously there's some artistic license taken for dramatic effect in terms of how certain technical things work in the rules of Formula One. Sonny Hayes plays fast and loose with the rules. There's one race in particular where he deliberately brings out the safety car by causing accidents several times so that the cars will all be bunched up together and that this will allow Pierce to stay out on track and gain position. Now, repeated offences like this in modern F1 would land you with multiple penalties and eventual race suspension, or even an outright ban, to be honest. In real life, the race stewards would have simply interpreted what he's doing as cheating. F1 fans will of course remember the Crashgate scandal from a number of years ago and how that went, but of course, Sonny Hayes is the main character in this movie, so he has to get away with it, right? Also, there's no way that Apex GP could have made the kind of developmental progress they did during the season. I mean, they went from being a pointless backmarker team to front runners in 8 races. Now, this kind of progress was once possible in F1, kind of. Back in 2009, there was a ban placed on in-season testing to help drive down costs. Though teams do develop their cars during a season, the performance development is nowhere near as significant as it once was back in the early 2000s or even the 1990s. What I'm saying is, yes, these days F1 cars do get a little bit better during a season, but typically speaking, they're not making anywhere near the kind of performance gains that the Apex team made. But I think you have to allow for that kind of stuff in a work of fiction. This is not a documentary or a biography. But one aspect of the film I really appreciated, and that felt very authentic to me, was the race commentary. Real-life TV commentators David Croft and Martin Brundle are very welcome additions. And they're in the film at the behest of Lewis Hamilton, who was also producer on the film. Croft and Brundle do more than just provide commentary at the races, but also important exposition at times, explaining more than they usually would do certain technical details and what's happening in the race and why things work the way they do. And this is obviously done for a casual audience who know nothing about Formula One. The thing I enjoyed more than the on-track action, though, was the interpersonal relationships between the characters. I mean, this is a great cast for a movie, and I suspect that the actors' prolonged immersion in the world of Formula One really helped them get more into their roles and elevate their performances. Also, after I watched the movie, I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I expected it to be, right down to the typical nail-biting climax of, will they be victorious, or will they suffer an honourable defeat and be moral victors? I mean, it's a sports movie after all. They have a proven format that works. And this film doesn't deviate too much from that. You've seen this kind of movie before. It's a template and it has a predictable plot progression. Despite its flaws, I still think this is a good advertisement for Formula One. And I think it also capitalizes on the unprecedented popularity of the sport in the United States right now. The US was a market that F1 had wanted to crack for decades, and they've certainly achieved that in recent years. F1 purists may not be totally satisfied with the occasional technical inaccuracy and stretching of the rules here and there, but I think overall, casual fans will be mostly pleased. The film is enjoyable, but just a bit generic. Sure, there's a few suspension of belief testing moments in there, and it's in no way believable that a man of Brad Pitt's age could be an F1 driver. In real life, he was about 60 or so when he was filming this movie. And being honest, he doesn't look anywhere near 60, but the character is probably somewhere in his early to mid-50s, which is still too old to be a Formula One driver. It's just too much of a stretch to believe he's fit enough in any way to compete. Hiring almost any young rookie driver would be preferable than hiring a man his age. Anyway, I think F1 the movie does the job. Nothing too surprising, but a fairly enjoyable 2 hours, made all the better by its cast. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks very much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.